Good morning, good afternoon to all, and welcome to our webinar, Skills Needed to Excel as a Business Analyst. My name is Naveen. Before I proceed, a couple of rules and guidelines for the session here. Please make sure that there is no background noise and all audio lines will be muted at all times. If you have a question and if you need to speak up, you can send it in the chat message, and the host of this meeting will be able to address that. And also, please do not seek or publish any of your personal information. Anybody doing so will be expelled for the policies. And we will get started here. So the agenda for this webinar today is we will talk about what business analysis is at a high level. And then I will talk about who a business analyst is. When we talk about who a business analyst is, we will talk about the significance of a business analyst. In other words, what happens if there's no business analyst. And then we will talk about the money involved in the IT industry and the share that a business analyst gets in that. And then we'll also look at some of the prerequisites that a business analyst would need. Following that, we will look at some real-time demonstration of the types of BA roles and the competencies that a BA should possess in order to be successful. So with that said, again, my name is Naveen. I'm going to be the speaker here. And I have a master's in computer science and then MBA from Texas State University. I'm also a candidate with several certifications such as Portfolio Management Professional, Project Management Professional, Business Analysis Certification, Agile certification, and I do have Scrum Master certification and a couple of other certifications as well. I currently am working as a portfolio manager for Fortune 100 companies in Southern California. I do have about 15 plus years of experience in various roles across different domains in the United States. Started as a business analyst and worked my way up to become a project manager, program manager, and I also doubled up at times as a product manager, UAT lead, or QA coordinator, etc. I've also been coaching people in the space of business analysis and project management for the past over 8 years and trained about 1,000 plus candidates. So as I mentioned, my expertise in various domains involves some of the opportunities in finance. Within finance, I had a chance to work in banking, credit cards, mortgage. I had a chance to work in insurance space, life in general. I also had a chance to work in healthcare domain, pharma domain, travel, telecom, and some of the pure IT organizations as well. I'm also a member of various professional bodies, and that helps me to keep up with the latest happenings in the industry, to understand the trends, to understand the various challenges and the opportunities that we as business analysts will be presented with. With that said, I would like to go ahead and talk about what business analysis is about. So a lot of us will understand business analysis as a discipline within the IT space. But also, business analysis is not just an IT role, but also it is a discipline within the management space. So to help us understand what business analysis is, I will try to unpack this by breaking business analysis two components, which is business and analysis. So business, we all know what a business is. Any group or organization that is concerned with providing products or services to satisfy customer requirements, with the objective of making a profit or not-for-profit purposes. So that is a business. Apple is a business. They produce some products such as iPads, iPhones, MacBooks, and then those products do satisfy some customer requirements, and the intent is to make profit. As an example, let's say iPhone. If iPhone was not able to help users make calls, receive calls, or browse the web or check their emails and use other apps, but if it was just a piece of a block, would they still be able to sell it? Maybe not. So it is essential that the product that a business is providing It should satisfy the customer requirements. In this case, the requirements of the customer are ability to make a call, ability to receive a call, ability to check emails. And why is Apple doing that? Are they doing it for charity purposes? No, because they want to make some money. So there are several businesses that are either product-oriented or service-oriented. An example of a service-oriented business can be a financial organization. Let's say Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Capital One, or any of the other educational services, or it could be consulting services. They provide certain services that will meet the requirements of the customers, and then the intent is to make money. But there are also non-profit businesses such as Goodwill, United Way, Red Cross, which do provide either a product or a service which still satisfies customer requirements, but the intent is not for profit. So moving on, to understand what analysis is, how do you define analysis? What is analysis? In general, when I ask people, hey, what is analysis? The classic and often the first definition that I get back is analysis is analyzing something. Yes, we know what analyzing means, right? But how do we use analysis in our day-to-day activities? How do we interpret analysis from a BA standpoint? Analysis, simply put, discovery rather than invention. Discovery rather than invention. What do we mean by discovery versus invention? See, Christopher Columbus discovered the United States of America. That means one day he got on a ship, he got lost while he was traveling in the Atlantic from Europe, and then he found a piece of land and said, hey, here is the United States. So that is called as discovery. But then invention is, we also hear a common and a popular phrase, Thomas Edison invented a light bulb. So one day was Thomas Edison walking down the street, and then he said, hey, here is a light bulb. Is that what has happened? No. Thomas Edison had to do that in his lab. Thomas Edison had to understand the science behind the light bulb. He had to identify the raw materials. He needed to design it, build it, test it, and then finally he said, hey, here is a light bulb. So we as business analysts, one of the key competencies that we should possess is we should be able to discover the business problems. See, every organization has a set of business problems. It could be financial problems, it could be efficiency problems, or it could be opportunities that they're trying to improve, or it could be they're trying to reach to the new markets. So they have a different set of problems, and we as business analysts should be able to discover those problems. And the solution for that will be invented by various solutioning teams or engineering teams. Also, business analysis, within analysis, we need to understand that analysis is fact rather than an opinion. This is the biggest gap that we see in several organizations. A lot of people who are playing the role of a business analyst will form an opinion about what the customer needs. It's a fact. In my opinion, I think the customer needs X, Y, and Z. No, please find the fact. You got to interview the business users. You need to ask the business users. And then finally, to do that, you should be able to ask the right questions. Okay. What are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to increase your top line growth? Are you trying to reduce your operating expense? Are you trying to expand into new markets? Are you trying to be innovative? Are you trying to reduce the time taken to perform a particular task? Are you trying to consolidate a bunch of processes? Are you trying to advance a capability within your organization? We need to ask the right questions. The answers to those questions, again, will be given by the solutioning teams or developing engineering teams that will develop solutions to these questions. But you and I as business analysts should be focusing on the questions rather than the answers. Also, it is why rather than how. Let's say I am tasked to build a house or a building. And then it's a 6-month project. It costs $1 million. My customers, John and Nancy, let's say they come back to me 2 months down the line and say, hey, we want you to add a helipad on top of the house. We want you to add a helipad on top of the house. My response to them should be, why do you need a helipad? I should not go about how do you want us to build it. My first response should be, why? Is it because you think it's fancy to have a helipad, or is it because you have a helicopter, or do you plan on purchasing a helicopter? Whether the structure will hold it or not, whether the design will accommodate it or not, that's a secondary conversation. You see this challenge in some of the organizations today, where people who come from the solutioning background or technology background, they quickly jump to the how part rather than discussing the why part. So it is very crucial for a business analyst to understand the why rather than the how part. Also, it is problems rather than solutions. As I said, as a business analyst, even during our discovery sessions, we should always be focusing on the problems. Every organization will have a problem statement. What are these problems? If you do a good job of understanding the problems, then you can do a better job of identifying the solutions. Finally, analysis is outcomes rather than the processes. When we say outcome, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? For example, some of you may be wanting to get trained to become a business analyst. Why? The outcome is you may want to get a job, or you may want to get some certification, or you may want to learn some tools, or you may want to get some practical hands-on experience. How do we accomplish that? That's the process piece. We can talk about the process piece later, which is, are you going to be learning over the weekend, during the days, during the evenings? Which tool are you going to use? Are you going to use free conference call or GoToMeeting or WebEx? The process part will kick in later. So, but anyway, in short, analysis is discovery, fact, questions, why, problems, and outcomes. Now, who is a business analyst in reality? See, according to the textbook, that is BABOK, Business Analysis Body of Knowledge, published by IIBA, business analysis simply is the discipline of 4 things. Number 1, identifying business need, gathering requirements, analyzing the requirements, and documenting the requirements. Plus, a business analyst is a liaison among stakeholders in order to understand the structure, policies, and operations of an organization and to recommend solutions that enables the organization to achieve its goal. So, in reality, BA role is a little different than what the textbook defines. In reality, business analyst is an individual that will bridge the gap between 2 groups of people. I'm shifting the conversation to specifically the IT business analyst. You can apply the same concept to a management business analyst who probably will have an MBA degree or a business degree from an Ivy League college or non-Ivy League college, who would go into an organization, look at the accounting, look at the financials, and suggest some process improvement aspects to make the companies more profitable and more efficient. Well, when we talk about an IT business analyst or IS business analyst, IT stands for Information Technology and IS is Information Systems. Business analyst is essentially an individual that will bridge the gap between 2 groups of people. Number 1, business users. The second group is the solutioning teams or the technical teams. So this is who you are. This is who I am. Put your name, put your picture in this place. So who are these business users? These are the individuals that will use a computer system or a software system to do their job. As an example, if you go to a hospital or a doctor's office, there's a receptionist. A receptionist might be using a software system to schedule appointments, cancel appointments. There's a billing analyst. whose job is to be able to send the bills, take the payments, send the claims to the insurance companies, or a doctor who could be using a software system to capture patient data and prescribe medicines. Or if you go to a bank teller who could be using a software system to help you with the transactions, transferring money in and out, or printing statements, depositing. Or if you go to a sales organization, a sales analyst who's looking at a software system to understand the historical sales and also to be able to predict or forecast the future sales. So bottom line, any individual who uses a computer software to accomplish their job would be a business user in this context. And technical teams involve the people that build the software. It could be the architects, programmers, support people, testers, etc. Now your job is you need to bridge this gap because these two groups of people speak a different language. You need to understand what these business users want and need, and then how do these technical teams represent that and build that. So it is a multifunctional role, and some of the skills depend upon the project objectives, client preferences, and team's capabilities. So who is a business analyst in 2017 and beyond? See, if you were to attend this webinar in 2007 or 2008 or before that, BA role was pretty limited to just gathering requirements. BA role was limited to just gathering requirements. But now, business analyst role has evolved in a very significant manner, and they are engaged in the project right from the get-go of the project, which is need discovery and scope identification through requirements gathering, documentation, participating in the solution reviews, helping with the user acceptance testing. And besides that, if you're working in an organization and if you're in a operational expenditure project, you're also expected to double up as a business analyst and a project manager or a business analyst / tester. Also, you may have to help them with the run activities such as production support activities. And not only that, as a business analyst, you may have to do some road shows and act as a business consultant or a sales consultant. So, business analyst today has evolved, and a business analyst is engaged in every phase of the project, right from the discovery phase all through the deployment phases. So what are the skills that you may have to possess? But before that, I want to talk about the significance of a business analyst in a project. There are some companies that think, oh, we don't need a business analyst because we can have a project manager, or we can have some kind of a technical lead who can also double up or play this role, and then that way we can consolidate our team and reduce the cost on the project. Let me show you the impact of doing that. Let's say if there is no formal business analyst on a capital expenditure project or on a large project. Let me tell you the impact of not having a business analyst. Most of you may have seen this. Some of you who have not seen this, please pay attention. I'll be quick in this slide. So there are 10 different representations. I'm going to be calling this as number 1 on the top row to the far left. This is how the customer explained it. The customer said, look, I need a multi-tiered ladder to be hung by a branch of a tree. But this is how the project leader understood it. Let's say a project leader or a technical lead is playing this role of a BA without any formal BA understanding or BA training. Now the person thought the customer needs a ladder or swing to be hung by 2 branches of a tree. Look at number 3. This is how the architect designed it. A very complex architecture. The tree itself is supported by 2 branches rooted into the ground with the trunk chopped off. Look at number 4. How did the programmer or the development team do their job? Basically, it's not even functional. But what about the sales guy, the business consultant? That person is painting a very pretty picture, saying that, oh, look at this. There's a nice, comfortable sofa where you can sit and swing with all the beautiful sunlight in the background. Isn't that what salespeople do for the most part? Yes, they do. But look at number 6 on the bottom row to the far left. How was it documented? No documentation whatsoever. What did the operations team install? A piece of a rope. But how was the customer billed? Number 8, customer was billed for the roller coaster. See, that's why there's a lot of people that actually switch from non-IT professions to IT profession, because we all know there's a lot of money. Everybody wants a piece of the pie. I have seen people who were librarians, air hostesses, people who were pharmacists, HR people, sales people, business people. I even had a forensic analyst who became a business analyst. Airline pilots became business analysts. But how was it supported? No support whatsoever. Look at number 10. What was it that the customer really needed? A tire that could be hung by a branch of a tree where they can sit and swing. See, in this entire representation, there's no business analyst. That is why you see this gap. But let's say if there was a business analyst, that person would have started from number 10. Why? Remember what analysis is? Discovery rather than invention. Questions rather than answers. Problems rather than solutions. Outcome rather than the process. Why rather than how. If you had taken that approach, you would understand what the customer really needs, and then you would document all of that. My number 6 would have been number 2. Everyone would work off of those documents. However, because they didn't take that approach, things are chaotic. Things are chaotic. So who else is a business analyst? Who else is a business analyst? You know, people who attend interviews, or when I do a job interview, one thing that I get asked is, hey, can you tell us who a business analyst is in just one word? I often am tempted to say that a business analyst is the Superman or the Wonder Woman of the company, because we do a bit of everything. But unfortunately, instead of saying Superman or Supergirl or Wonder Woman, I think the most appropriate thing is you and I would be the handy person of the organization, because it is so essential that we do a bit of everything. We do a bit of facilitating, moderations. We are skill listener, team leaders, visionary, troubleshooters, domain expert, project management, testing, and playing the role of a business analyst. Playing the role of business analyst. And all of this has transformed after 2008-2009 recession, because companies wanted to consolidate, and they were expecting BAs to be able to take on more than just gathering requirements and documenting the requirements. Now, are there many business analyst jobs? Are there many IT jobs? I want to quickly talk about that before I move on to talk about the actual skills that one should possess. So, Software Hall of Shame. We all know about Halls of Fame, Music Hall of Fame, Tennis Hall of Fame, or people who do pathetically, or people who don't do very well would probably be inducted into Hall of Shame. Some enthusiasts came together. They created Software Hall of Shame. This is not a recognized body. Please understand. There are several groups online, and you can find some of them. As an example, let's say iPhone. We all know iPhone is something that has been invented by Apple. But what inspired them to make an iPhone? What inspired them to make an iPhone? Any guesses in the chat window? If you can type your response, let's see. What inspired Apple to come up with an iPhone? Okay, so some people are saying it's because they want everything in one place. Okay, some are saying because of the touch and feel. But see, by then we already had Blackberries, we already had Palm Trio and other devices. So there was a device called as Apple Newton. Some of you may know this. Apple Newton, which was actually invented by Apple, and Steve Jobs was the head of the project back in mid-90s. In 1996, they put Apple Newton out into the market, and guess what? It failed, and they had to pull it back from the market in 6 months of it being put out. They had to stop the production of that device. The function of an Apple Newton was pretty much similar to what an iPhone does today. So we all think, oh wow, Apple is a great company. They never had any failures. Every product that they put out is a commercial hit. It's successful. But guess what? Apple also has its own share of problems. What about Google? What is Google? Any guesses? What is Google? Okay, Google is a search engine. See, I knew the answer. That's exactly why I'm asking that question. Google is not a search engine. Google.com is a search engine. And Google is a company that is owned by Alphabet and headquartered in Mountain View, California. Right? But how many products do you think Google has had altogether? How many products do you think Google has had altogether up until now? It's not just 10 plus. Google has had about close to 1,000 products. When I say products, it is software or services. As an example, Google Scout, Google Catalog, Google Answers, Google Friend Connect. Do we know about all these different products or apps? Maybe not. Maybe not. Why? Because not every product that Google puts out is commercially successful. They have their own share of problems. How about Microsoft? It started out as a pioneer in the technology space, but today it's trailing behind many other social media companies and startup companies. So I can go on and on about different examples where organizations failed or their products failed. As an example, United Airlines. Occasionally we see that United Airlines is giving away tickets for $2 a piece. Really? Do they really want to give away for $2? Maybe not. They probably had a glitch in the system. So their ticketing systems failed. Also, occasionally we see that a certain drug or a medicine has been recalled from the shelves of the pharmacy. Why? Because it was making people sick. So are you saying that these pharmaceutical companies did not know about these things when they were doing the clinical trials? Maybe not. Maybe they failed. Maybe they had faulty clinical trial management systems. 2008 financial recession. What is the reason for the financial recession in 2008? Can I get any quick chat answers, please? What are some of the major reasons for 2008 financial collapse, which impacted the global economy? Some of the big name companies like AIG, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, they took a hit. Why? What was the primary reason that many analysts and experts attributed to the 2008 financial collapse? Okay, subprime mortgage, right? Or giving away bad loans. So are you saying that these financial organizations had systems in place that did not identify the risk, that did not look at the creditworthiness of the people that are seeking these loans, that did not look at the debt to income ratio or front ratio, back ratio, or loan to value ratio? Did they not factor those things properly? Did they have systems that were broken? Or did they have systems that were lenient? Or did they have systems that were not in compliance with the federal regulations? Maybe all of that, maybe some of that. So they had problems across the board. There were a lot of these gaps. Things should have been flagged early on when you were giving away a loan to people who could not afford to pay them back. Now, when you do that to the scale of millions of borrowers, you will see the impact. So subprime mortgage is one of the reasons, besides many other bad practices such as derivatives and other factors. So essentially, what I'm trying to say from this slide is there are problems in every industry, no matter how big or small. There are problems in several organizations, no matter how successful they are today. And there's a lot of studies that were conducted about why projects fail, why systems fail. I'll quickly give you a summary of 2 or 3 statements here. One is Forrester Research said 66% of the projects fail because of miscommunication between business and IT. Remember the miscommunication part or the communication part? Who is the bridge between business and IT? It's the business analyst. It's you and me as a business analyst. Or Meta Group said 60 to 80% of the projects fail because of poor requirements gathering, analysis, and management. Anytime you see requirements gathering or the word requirements, know that it's a BA related task or BA related activity. And then Standish Group put together some survey. They actually put together a report called as the Chaos Report, starting from 1990s, early 90s, and then they still do that. Anyway, a quick summary of Standish Group's report is, out of every 100 projects, 16% of the projects are successful back in 1994. 31% were challenged in 1994, and 53% failed. See, challenge, when you say challenge, that means it's a schedule overrun or budget overrun or lack of functionality. All of that would constitute the challenged category of projects. Well, back in 1994, I don't think every household had a computer. I don't remember seeing a computer in every household. We didn't have these many websites, these many technologies, these many people. Let's fast forward to 2015 and beyond. How many devices or how many computers are there in every house? Forget about one device per household. Today, each person, each individual has multiple computing devices. Right? You may have a laptop, a tablet, a phone, which is pretty much your mobile computer. We have hundreds of thousands of websites. Back in 1994, we didn't have these many institutions or organizations teaching and training people in the space of IT. But today, we have tons of organizations and universities and colleges offering IT-related training. Back in 1994, we did not have these many IT professionals. Today, everybody is becoming an IT professional. A salesperson is an IT professional. A pharmacist is an IT professional. A pilot is an IT professional. HR person is an IT professional. A librarian is an IT professional. An IT professional is also an IT professional. So the IT resources have grown exponentially from 1994 to 2015 or even into this 2017. But the success rate has barely doubled to 29% or 30% in 2015. So you have these IT resources with an exponential growth, but the success rate of the project implementation has only doubled. Of course, there's a drop in the failure percentage from 53 to 19%, and there's an increase in the challenge category from 31 to 52%. So anyway, what are the top 5 indicators according to this survey that they conducted that resulted in projects being successful, challenged, and failed? I'm going to be focusing on just what is related to the business analysis. The third reason why projects are successful are clear statement of requirements. Good BA job. Number 2 reasons why projects fail. Incomplete requirements and specifications. Bad BA job. Number 1 reasons why project failed. Incomplete requirements. Bad BA or no BA. So do you understand the importance of BA possessing the right skills to make a project successful? So let me talk about the money part involved in IT space. See, every year within the IT sector across the globe, the spending has been more than what they spent in the previous years. In other words, the year-over-year spend was a positive trend except in 2015. Even during the recession years, when you compare IT industry with any other industry like construction or retail or hospitality, the spending in IT was a positive spend, and it was more than what they spent in the previous years, even during the recession years. But anyway, the outlook is that there's going to be an anticipated spend of more than 3.5 trillion US dollars across the globe in 2018, and that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And how are BAs distributed within the headcount picture? So out of every 100 jobs, there are 5 DBAs and architects, or 4.2 production support analysts, 2 help desk analysts, 8.4 programmers, 7.3 business analysts, 1.9 PMs, and 2 QAs. Some people will assume that a BA and QA are one and the same. No, not at all. BAs are the people that will gather the requirements, work with the teams across the phases to ensure that everything flows smoothly. A project manager is an individual that is accountable for the success of the project. A QA is an individual that will validate or verify the software system that is being built as part of the project. Now, BA, according to Forbes magazine, was also one of the top 10 recession-proof jobs with a growth outlook of about 36%. And U.S. Department of Labor and IABA salary survey concluded that BAs can earn anywhere from $60,000 to $130,000. So now you know the importance of a business analyst. Now you know what business analysts can earn. And if you go to dice.com and search for BA jobs, I can guarantee that you will find more number of BA jobs than any other IT job in the United States at any given point in time. I can do this search real quick right now. If you go to DICE and type business analyst role across the United States, there are 41,779 BA jobs currently available. Let's do a search for Java programmer. There are 32,500 jobs. Do a search for QA, 25,000 jobs or 27,000 jobs. So you can take any IT job and compare it with the business analyst job or availability of business analyst jobs in the United States. You will find more BA jobs than any other IT job. So now that you know that there's opportunities, there's money, there's significance, what are some of the skills that you should possess to become a business analyst? See, number one, a lot of people will assume that, oh, I don't have a technology background. I'm not a programmer. I don't understand the coding part. You don't need to know all of that to become a business analyst, because BA is a technology neutral role. In other words, when I started my career as a business analyst, the first company that I was with used .NET technologies. The second company used Java technologies. Another company used some other technologies. And I didn't have to worry about the technology because I'm not the one that is doing the solutioning. I'm the one who is gathering the requirements, understanding the problem statements, and documenting it appropriately. Also, it is domain neutral. What do you mean by domain neutral? Some people may say, oh, I don't have experience in a certain domain. I don't understand everything about healthcare. I don't understand everything about mortgage or investment or banking or retail or oil and gas or energy domain. So you as a business analyst are going to interact with the business users or subject matter experts or domain experts who will give you that information. Your job is to go interview them, ask them these questions and gather that, and put those pieces of information in a proper format. Because at the end of the day, you need to know how to gather the requirements. You need to know how to classify those requirements into functional requirements, non-functional requirements, security requirements, data requirements, user interface requirements. You need to have an understanding of the software development lifecycle methodologies such as waterfall or agile or Scrum or lean. So a BA role is technology and domain neutral. Low barriers of entry. If you look at some of the job opportunities, they don't say, hey, we need a person with a master's degree or MBA degree or a degree in computer science. I have seen people with degrees and without degrees who could become a business analyst. But anyway, one should possess some personal skills, soft skills, such as they should have common sense. Right? Which job doesn't require people with common sense? Communication skills, people skills, details. One should be very detail oriented. If you are a person who likes to fly at 10,000 foot level, maybe this is not the role for you. You need to have interest in getting things done. So if I had to summarize the skills that one should possess as a business analyst, this is what I would say. From a natural trait standpoint, you should be a good communicator. Why? Because you're going to be interfacing with the business users. You need to be able to write the requirements. You should be a people person because as a business analyst, you'll be interacting with several people. You cannot be cranky. Persistent. What do you mean by persistent? Can I get a chat response by some of you? What do you mean by persistent? You can type your responses in the chat window. Not giving up. Perfect. Points to Anna. Not giving up, or Tracy. Thank you. See, one of the challenges or one of the reasons why a lot of people fail, in any job, you got to be relentless. You should not give up. You will hit several roadblocks. There will be a lot of bottlenecks. You will not have access to the systems. You will not have access to the information. You will not have access to the documents. But you need to work your way around. You should not give up. You should be a quick learner, right? See, back in the day, if you learn a certain concept or technology, I'm talking about, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, or even 30 years ago, you can just live with that for the rest of your life and retire. But today, there's so many new tools, new processes, new technologies that are coming out. And you should be quick. You should learn that. You may not have to be an expert in each of those things, but it will certainly help you to understand these different aspects. So you should be a quick learner. From a process standpoint, you should understand different software development lifecycle methodologies. You should understand how projects are delivered, project management lifecycle. You should understand the aspects pertaining to business process reengineering. You should be able to collaborate. From a skill set standpoint, you should be able to facilitate meetings. You should be able to present. You should have some managerial skills. You should have leadership skills. By the way, is there a difference between management skills and leadership skills, or are they one and the same? You can type it in the chat window. You can send your responses. If they are different, what is managerial and what is being a leader? Okay. People are saying it's different. So how are they different? What do you mean by management? Somebody is saying manage is one thing, lead is other. Obviously, right? If they're different, it should be one or the other. Managers, right? So we're getting some answers here. Thank you very much. Managers manage. Leaders lead. Somebody's saying that. See, again, you're going back to the concept that I explained early on. What is analysis? Analysis is analyzing. What is management? To manage. So don't use the same term to define that. Management is ensuring the completion of a task or set of tasks, right? They're asked to implement something or do something, and then they will do it. A leader is someone who will show the direction. A leader is someone who would lead. Leader is someone who will have a vision and influence people to accomplish that. So you as a business analyst should be able to possess both managerial as well as leadership skills if you want to be successful. Negotiation. This is a big part of being a successful business analyst. What do you mean by negotiation? Negotiation is you got to create a win-win strategy. You got to create a win-win situation. Problem solving. It's all about problem solving. Life is full of problems. The moment you get up, it's problems. You need to survive. You need to be able to have the mindset of solving the problems by being persistent. And then from a BA training standpoint, you should understand how to elicit requirements, how to gather the requirements, how to decompose them. You should also understand how to do different types of diagrams like unified modeling language. You should understand how systems are developed. You should understand how to write use cases, user stories. There are various tools that one should be familiar with, like requirements management tools or change management tools, version controlling tools, business modeling tools. So you as a business analyst should be possessing some or all of these skills in order to become a successful business analyst. I understand no business analyst will possess all of this from day one. I didn't have all of this on first day of my job in my first job. I had to develop all these skills eventually. And some of that comes with practice and experience. Okay. So what are some of the opportunities for you as a business analyst? Once you're a business analyst, most people, after being a business analyst for a few years, they will end up becoming a project manager, or they can become a functional manager, or a product manager, or a systems analyst if you're a technical person, or a subject matter expert. Or eventually you can move on to become a program manager or portfolio manager or anything else. So once you're a business analyst, it provides you an opportunity. It acts as a springboard for you into these other careers. No matter what you choose to do, the point is you will end up making all this money. You'll get the share of that big pie. Okay. So I hope that was helpful about who a business analyst is, what a business analyst does, and the skills that you need to become a business analyst. We do help people in becoming business analysts. The primary goal for us is we will help people to become a business analyst by clearing a job interview. See, a lot of people think that job interview is question and answer session. Not really. Job interview is a place where you have to sell your skill sets, where you need to brand yourself. Let's be honest, if there is one opening, the hiring managers get about 50 to 60 resumes. They'll call about 10 to 15 people for an interview. And everybody can answer every question about business analysis because this is not rocket science. But how do you stand out? How do you get the job? How do you get that job offer? How will the manager remember you? So what we do as part of our training is we will talk about how do you stand out, how do you brand yourself, how do you remain memorable. You know, one of the things that I ask people, as an example, when I ask people that they did in an interview, I would say, hey, did you talk about or did you answer use cases related question? And then they will say, oh, guess what? The manager did not ask me about use cases. Well, they might not have asked you about use case, but it's your job as a candidate to bring it up in the context. You are not only proving that you are capable of doing the job, but you also have to position yourself as an asset to the organization for future opportunities as well. So what I have done is, as an experiment, I have done about 85 real job interviews. I've applied to many companies like Disney, Sony, FedEx, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, many of the state government organizations on the East Coast. And every time I did an interview as part of an experiment in the last 4 or 5 years, my success rate is 100%. Every time I did an interview, I either got called for second round of interview or was offered a job. Each time I updated my resume, submitted it as if I was applying for a job. So bottom line, interview process is not something, it's not just a Q&A session, but rather it is a platform or a forum where you have to sell yourselves and brand yourself as a potential asset to the organization. And then the second goal that we also have as part of our training is to help you sustain the job. Great, you cleared the interview, you got the job, but guess what? You don't know anything. You don't know how to do the documents. You don't know how to use the tools. You don't know how to communicate. So what we do is we will offer each and every student a real-time case study, and they'll be able to build documents and artifacts from an end-to-end perspective, starting from scope document to requirements document to use cases to UML diagrams to test cases, so that they can do the same exact thing in the job. Okay, so we also give away a lot of other materials, and that is also available to the people that get this training from us. And then finally, if you're interested, you can proceed to pursue certifications. There are multiple certifications like CBAP and CCBA that is hosted by IIBA, and PMI also has their certification program, which is PBA, Professional Business Analysis, which is gaining more traction lately. And they use a book called BA Practice Guide, but IIBA uses BA Body of Knowledge. Okay, so that in a nutshell is about the skills that you need to become a business analyst or successful business analyst, and what we offer. Let me open the floor for any questions. We just have 4 minutes we are just 4 minutes away from the top of the hour. I'll see if I can take some questions in the chat window. Okay, any questions? Okay, great. So you all know how to become a business analyst, how to become a successful business analyst, and I think everyone understands it. Okay. Yeah, if you need more information or if you need these slides, please contact our coordinators, and they should be able to do this. Yes, we do offer online courses, and we do have several courses that are scheduled. We're starting new batches. You can contact our coordinator, and they will be able to help you with that. I have a question here. What is the difference between a BA and a business consultant? So business analyst, I talked about that early on in the presentation, which is an individual that will go out, understand the business problems, gathers the requirements, documents them, and works with the solutioning teams. Business consultant is an individual who will go in, for example, Deloitte, PwC, Accenture, Booz Allen Hamilton. They will send you business consultants, who will go in, understand the problems, give a solution, a temporary engagement. It will be a temporary engagement like maybe a month or two, and then they will get out. They are not necessarily going to oversee the implementation of the solution, but a business analyst will be there as part of the project. Okay. Business analyst, systems analyst, again, not much of a difference. Business analyst is from a management role standpoint, who will go into an organization and look at the accounting or finances. But a business systems analyst is very specific to the IT aspect. We have another question. What about combining, let's see. What do you think about combining BA and PM skills? Well, that's what it is. Lately from 2009, 2010, organizations have evolved, and they are trying to combine these two roles and they're expecting BAs also have some understanding of project management, which is why we cover project management aspects as part of our training. Okay. Which certification is better for career progression? CCBA, PBA, or CSPO? I would say, PBA over CCBA, and then obviously CSPO also will help you because that has agile dimension to that. Do we get the contact for the coordinator? Can the coordinator please, can you please send the contact information in the chat window? Okay. What certification do you recommend as a first step? As a first step, I do recommend going for PBA, and then eventually you can add other certifications. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody else? Yes, Agile is the most widely used methodology currently in several organizations. There's no doubt. So we will spend a lot of time on Agile methodologies, and you will know exactly what your role as a business analyst would be within an organization that employs Agile methodology. Okay. Are you training only for the USA? No, we don't train just for the USA. We have people joining our sessions from across the globe. We have another question. Let me understand what it is. Shafi, I'm not sure what your question is. Mostly in our organization, when you ask why a question, you get an answer why you want to know this, how to tackle this. So we should be able to articulate. That is exactly what I was talking about. You know, you should be persistent. You should not give up. You should not. You should be able to negotiate. Why do you need information on something? You should be able to explain the value behind it. You should be able to explain the outcome that you are trying to accomplish by asking a question like that. Okay. Do we need to have any Scrum Master certification? Well, it helps to have a Scrum Master certification if you also have a BA knowledge. Okay. All right. How do we get more information on tools? So we do discuss, several tools in our training program. There's many requirements tools like Agile tools, such as version 1 or Jira, Confluence, and many other tools. So you can, once you join our program, we'll be able to cover that. People are asking for contact information. Okay, we have another question. Scrum Master or Product Owner certification suitable for BA? I would say go for Scrum Master as a first step, and then try to get Product Owner if you are interested to advance as a Product Owner. But I would say start with Scrum Master, and then you can eventually get the Product Owner certification. No, BA's role is not less important in Agile methodology. In fact, BA's role is more important and is more significant, because that's where I've seen a lot of companies asking their BAs to do a little bit of Scrum Master plus Product Owner roles besides a Business Analyst role. Okay. All right. Any other questions? If you already have a PMP, is it worth getting a BA certification? Well, it depends on what you want to accomplish. Do you want to proceed in the project management line, or do you want to be able to switch to the business analysis line? If you want to switch to business analysis line, then you can get PBA certification or BA certification. But if you want to stay in the project management, program management, then I would say PBA is not required at that point. Yeah, BAs do make more money. It depends on the domain, depends on the company that you're in, depends on the role. So if you're an entry-level business analyst, expect to make anywhere from 60K to 80K. If you're a seasoned business analyst, I know people who actually earn like 150K to 175K per year. How important is domain knowledge? It will help you. It will help you to sustain or get the job and then sustaining the job. But I'm not saying that one should possess 100% domain knowledge. Okay. So as an example, let's say if you're gathering requirements from your business users and you're working in a banking organization, your user may say, hey, look, I need to be able to gather, or I need to be able to have a functionality in my system that will enable money transfer. So you should understand at a high level what money transfer is. You cannot go in and say, oh, what do you mean by money transfer? Money transfer is the feature or function that is built in the system where you can transfer money from account 1 to account 2. By doing that, the balance in account 1 will be reduced and the balance in account 2 will be increased. You need to have basic understanding of the domain, but being an expert in the domain is not useful. Okay. Usually PM is the next role for BA. I've covered that in the progression, in the career progression or career options earlier. Okay. So thank you all very much. I'm going to be wrapping it up here real quick. And those of you that joined a little late, please contact our training coordinators and they will be able to give you all the information and they will help you with the slides or any other information that you may need. But thank you all for your time and thank you very much for your attention. Please have a good rest of the day.